have to say about this film. Fun, exciting.
Yeah, well, fresh film.
Thrilling, very, very fresh.
Very fresh.
I love the fact that you saw character development as well as some sort of movement, because you could have gotten really drama forward with this. You could have gone really drama forward and gotten to know each character and each little bit that made them who they are, and it would have taken away from the action base of the film, like the movement of the actual film. But it was a great balance. You got to understand the motives of the main characters, as well as the victory, the arc of the training, of from the ground to something. I think this is a really good sports film.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It's great.
It's really lovely. What a nice little film.
Yeah, it's very uplifting. I'm sure that if you have like a really patriotic sort of like
this could have made you cry, mate. Like
there
there were moments there where you're like, oh my god.
God.
Dude, that moment where he's like looking at the flag.
I know.
And then because he's praying essentially, and then he's telling he's not even God can take this 70 minutes away from you. Like, I know. You do not ask for more in life, just ask for this 70. Me, when you're saying it like that, you're like, oh my god!
I love the concept that he tells her. They tell them of like, you're stealing this time. This time is like yours to steal.
This is yours. Yeah.
I love
Nothing's
that.
given in life. You have to take it, right?
I really felt psyched. I really felt ready to do something.
So it turns out Shah Rukh Khan took this role partially because he used to play hockey in college.
I was gonna say he was very comfy.
Yeah, he was very comfortable, and obviously he had techers, so that's awesome.
Also, I think the girls definitely had to train with this because they also were very, very comfortable. None of them looked out of place, which I think is one of the reasons why the film is so believable.
Yeah. So similar to we did hear this part in the Romantics, where Jaydeep felt like the girls were getting so little coverage, right? So he thought making a movie out of it. He spent a lot of time researching the hockey players, and then he, ended up finding out the heartbreaking stories and how a lot of, I think they sort of made tongue-in-cheek about it just to not be a sob story. But like a lot of the girls, genuinely, the locker rooms and the how they had to travel to places was horrible.
I think the dynamics of the soundtrack as well as the title songs for this, they were all very cohesive, and they aided the motion of the film. They added that sort of like edge of dynamic.
Agreed.
I think this is a really well balanced film.
Yeah, I agree. The tempo, everything was really well done. I think also something that really gets highlighted throughout the film is like the constant pressing on how sort of involved the music score was.
Yes.
It really does help with both, plot movement. It also does help with, enhancing emotions, which is what every music score does. But weirdly enough, it's not a music score in which, it's super memorable in terms of it has this song and this song and this song. It just has basically two. Max 3, I think, with the girl song that he has, obviously Chak the India and the reprise versions of it. I guess he has 4, right? Because he also has the Mere
Mola sort of situation. The prayer.
Praying.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. That's the best part of the movie. And Check the India number, obviously, is very important.
Very, very good. But I actually think because of the use of reprises, it gives a continuity that sort of like we're still in the same timeline. Because I think if they would have added more musical numbers, it would have taken away from the fact that you're moving in one continuous motion.
Agreed.
In one continuous direction. This is very well thought through.
Yeah, I think also, that the way they decided to do the social commentary of it, given Yash Raj Chopra's legacy, is, Yash Raj was essentially, he liked to make films in which he could commentate or make social commentary on, and dispute things that, societally in that moment were wrong or perceived as taboo, outrageous. Yeah. So it makes sense that then his son goes on and tries to make films in which he's obviously very passionate about, and he feels that he can send out a message. He feels like it's a very positive message, which I think is obviously a net positive, especially given it's 2007 when the sports film gets released, and he's like 20 years old.
It's really, I was going to say...
It's like 20 years old. I thought we were in 2016, but it's 2025, right?
That is...
me. So it's nearly 20 years old. It's 18 years old, this movie. If you watch the movie in 2007 and the commentary, the social commentary of both, you know, how, I guess, the gender roles aspect of things, how both the sport of hockey was being perceived, both in the male and female, because it was also like the guys weren't really getting the same respect than cricketers were, right? And cricket's like a very, very big sport there. So it's really interesting to then see 18 years later how this movie would be perceived, and if people feel like there has been progress made. This is one of the things that art usually does, you know, specifically, you know, directors and stuff. They're very like, what do you call it? Not optimists, but they have like idealists, you know. They have this art, so why not be able to hopefully influence in positive manners? I always think that it always comes down to the execution, and where the core value of the story does not sacrifice anything for the sake of the messaging of the story, because if you prioritize the message over plot and the core value of a film, it's something is paying the price, and usually it's the quality of the fucking thing.
Correct.
So, but this was quite well done. It didn't feel pandery at any point. I thought it was quite realistic on how girls are in sporting environments. I thought that was like, they're pretty fucking brutal against each other, hate each other. I thought the way they approached her character. Let me just bring up the names because there's so many fucking characters. Yeah, Bindia. You know, she's like the experienced player, you know, and then obviously, but she's also scorned, that she's seen coaches come and go, and it's probably been taken advantage of, and probably been sold dreams, and they've been left in the middle of fucking nowhere. And then you sort of see like the way they approach that aspect of things, like the taking advantage aspect of it, the being willing to fucking, you know, it must be because she's pretty, or, you know, obviously this guy, like, although the coaches want one thing, they want to fucking get me naked. It's like that was like the perfect way to like explain that he was tense and he was uncomfortable and he was fucking weird.
But it was great though, the tension building and like the actual addressing of some of the really pinnacle and important.
Quite well done.
Yeah,
man.
they were very well handled.
Yeah.
And in a way that if you, for example, because this is a family film, right? So
Yeah,
in a way
sports
that
family.
yeah, so if you are a child watching this, you wouldn't really think much of it. But as an adult, you're looking at this subtext, and it's just so well carried. Also, I think Shahrukh did such an incredible...
What a stand-up performer he is, and he carries the whole fucking thing, genuinely.
I think this is perhaps one of my favorites, because...
SRK performances ever. I agree.
think it's definitely one of my favorites, because you see such an authority figure, a man... with such principles and an incredible, like, driven
He's
persona.
like the man's man.
Correct.
He's like, what the
couldn't think of a better role model to lead a bunch of straight girls,
essentially,
that they didn't know where to aim and who their identity was.
As a leader right there.
Yeah.
Masculine, strong, with very solid values, an unmovable force with experience, with torments and nightmares, but he does not let that prevent him from dreaming.
I loved it as because it wasn't overly sentimental from his character's perspective.
He fought for the right things. He was passionate.
I also felt like because of the lack of like soppy, crying, sentimental acting, the moments where it mattered, the moments where
it really punched you in the stomach.
Wow, they hold so much more depth.
Also because they intertwined it with patriotism.
It is
like
that brilliant.
Because you're a national team, like.
Correct.
You should be willing to essentially die for your fucking country, like.
And it is you're representing your country,
your
like,
values of your country,
the values of your country, how your country is being perceived in the world. It's such an important responsibility, and I think I think this is perhaps one of
SRK's strongest. I think, in my opinion, one of his strongest roles.
That I've seen up to date.
It wasn't gimmicky. It wasn't so theater-like what we're used to seeing him in Kalhona Ho, in Kuchikuchi in Kabikushi Kabigam, and in all those performances, like, they're all outstanding. He's very good at that.
He's very great.
Bro is perfect at those types of roles. But
however, this is mature and layered, and it has subtext, and it is. And you know what? He isn't the main focus. Like, he isn't the main focus.
But he's such a catalyst for everyone else.
But I love the driving force that he brings into the table. Again, brilliant film. I do have to highlight the style of filming for this.
Very good. The cinematography, very good. Yeah.
Very, very clever.
Aditya A on this.
It's not Aditya who directed this. It's Shimit.
Oh, yes. Shimit. Yeah, Shimit Amin. Yeah.
He really had a very clear vision what the cinematography of it had to be. And I love the addition of, I kept mentioning it throughout, but the movement of that between highly cinematic to reality-like movement in the cameras to very dynamic sequences from the very beginning.
This guy doesn't make many things, you know.
He is a clever cookie, I tell you.
Like he's made 2, 4, 6 projects, and one of them is like an episode in a Netflix BBC series.
Okay.
And then into the other project, he served as a consultant, and then in another project, he just was the film. Not just, but he was the film editor.
He was the whole film director
of the Reluctant Fundamentalist.
Okay.
Chak the India, and then Abetake Japan.
Okay.
Mate, this guy's basically made 4 movies.
But
3.
But if you see the style, he is
Grunge.
like is grunge and is action based.
Yeah,
so
I'm very happy
Chak
he-
the India kind of brought some of that grunginess, especially with the sepia coloring.
Perfect.
Color
And
correction.
then the opening of the blue. The blue hue.
Correct.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Wonderfully directed, wonderfully produced.
Really
and,
well carried. It's a really fresh film.
Salim Sulaiman did their thing, and I was quite pleased.
Me too.
There wasn't any. The only fucking questionable person, which I know they were trying to make him like the dickhead. I get it, but
No, they
Pretty's boyfriend, whatever the.
We're trying to make him the comedic relief, but he wasn't comedic enough for me. Like he
Oh,
wasn't.
they were
a
trying to make him
comedy
the asshole.
character.
No, it wasn't comedic. They were trying to make him the asshole. He was the asshole.
I didn't see that.
It's
through.
like, yeah, sure, he's an asshole, but he's a shit actor. So now what?
Yeah, it didn't. It really didn't carry. However, though,
You know,
didn't-
welcome to the top.
It
Welcome to
didn't
the hall.
matter.
Welcome to the hall of shame.
It didn't matter. I
Of
didn't
bad acting in
care.
Bollywood.
I didn't care, and I am very picky about bad acting.
It was disgusting.
It was terrible, completely out of line.
Nargis fuckery level.
But it didn't mind. It didn't rock my boat when I was watching the whole
also
film.
another questionable bit. Post McDonald's scene, I don't think we needed the other glasses shot.
I know that was fun because the intermission you had to make.
No.
a point.
I like the walk.
Ah, okay.
The walk was dope. Right before that, he did another glass one, and he
Yes.
was like, "Well, we just fucking did that." It was cool once. It's fucking
enough,
corny
man.
as fuck the second time.
No,
Yeah.
I thought it was cool because the girls, team spirit.
And on that note, put some glasses on me, Alvin.
Bye, have a great time.